Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Arbor Iguchi Pro snowboard. This board features Arbor's system camber, which is traditional camber with the fenders in the tip and the tail, giving it a 3D shape, and grip tech right underfoot. That camber is going to give you all the load, pop, snap, and drive. The grip tech underfoot is going to help with grip when you're ankle steering, and the 3D shaping in the nose and the tail is going to allow for better powder float as it funnels the snow out to the sides. This board's available in 153, 156, 158 wide, 159, 162, 163 mid-wide, 167 wide for you big boys out there. I rode this board at Arapahoe Basin on a day that was a mix of blue, gray skies, a little bit of wind, average temps. There was about 3 inches of snow that had fallen. It was a little heavier on top of crust. And when I say crust, it was crustier than the white chick with dreadlocks spinning around in circles at the free concert in the spring in the base area. You know what kind of crust I'm talking about. Nobody wants that. It was awful. And I found some perfect corduroy too, which was nice to make up for the horrible crust that I rode. And I rode this board with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. So this is a free ride board, and it's got a free ride flex to it, but it's not a stiff plank. There's actually some areas where it's got some play to it, and it is a fully directional flex, meaning you get a little bit more play in the nose, and it progressively stiffens back up through the tail. The torsional flex is noticeable, you can engage it, but it's very quick to respond. It'll snap right back in place. You'll notice that when you're ankle steering. Now, when it comes to stability, this board is stable. Any chatter you get at high speeds in the nose is completely killed off before it hits the front foot. This board just feels smooth. And when you get into rutted terrain, there's 2 types of things that happen to it. In the big deep ruts, it's got enough flex that it'll bend with it. And with the smaller ones, it just sort of skips across the top of them and then plows through anything in its path. So the snap is there in this board, but it's still not the poppiest thing out there. It's very easy to load back. It's very easy to load up, and when you roll back on the tail, it engages and you pop. You're not boosting to the moon, but it's consistent for what it is, and you feel secure in knowing that you're going to be able to pop off, over, or onto anything in your path. Now, are you going to be launching rollers and clearing families of fat skiers? I mean, maybe if you're on the Montezuma Bowl at A Basin and you hit the super step up, but anywhere else, probably not. You know, it's there. Like I said, field's consistent, you know it's gonna get the job done. All right, have you clicked like? Good. Now have you clicked subscribe? You haven't, have you? Do it. See that little bell? Click that as well. That way you're gonna get notified every time we put out a new video for you. And you don't wanna miss any of our videos, do you? Because it'll make TC sad. And we don't wanna make him sad. We wanna make him happy. Butterability. It's not the most butterable board out there, and you're gonna get a bit of a workout, but it will work. So you do have those fenders in the nose and the tail. They give it a little bit of a scoop. So when you have your weight way out over the nose or the tail, and you're starting to swivel around, that won't hook up, which is nice, especially if you're pressing into powder that's over crunchy, crusty snow. Dear God, it was so crunchy and crusty. Why was it so crunchy and crusty? So with that said, the nose is a little softer. It's easier to press in this. If you pop a 180, press into it, and then swivel around, you'll be fine. With the tail, you gotta kind of sit on it, do your thing. If you lean way back in fresh snow, you're gonna get a good wheelie with it, but overall, it's not the most butterable, but if you know what you're doing, you're not gonna have a bad time. Or you are if it's really crusty, like it was for me. Dear God, it was so crusty. This board can carve, but you're gonna notice that it primarily steers underfoot from the grip tech. Now, with the fender in the nose, that helps with the roll on edge, and it's got a very fast and powerful transmission on edge, so then it grips underfoot. That's going to guide the carve, and then the power comes from that camber, and you can push off your rear foot for short, tight, quick carves and medium, mellow carves. If you're trying to really lay some trenches and get this board over on edge, you're gonna notice the limitations. It will wash out on you if you're not careful. So if you're sitting with all your weight on the back foot, thinking you're gonna be able to back foot drive it by pushing your knee into the camber and then push off the tail, disengaging the full front insert pack and that grip tech, it's not gonna happen. It washes out. It just does. You need to have both of these engaged to get the most optimal carve out of it. But when you do, it's solid. You don't have to worry about it. You can swoop in and out of turns. Like I said, short, tight, quick carves, medium, mellow carves are really good on this board. It's those deep, hard, aggressive ones or Euro carves that it starts to become a little bit more problematic. It just doesn't have the grip if you don't understand that you need to keep both engaged. If you do, hell yeah, brother, you're gonna have a great time. But for anyone that watches a certain other reviewer that keeps saying it steers off the back foot, just understand that guy rudder foots and he puts all his weight on the back. He would say that this thing was a great carver until it would wash out on him. It's not. It's subtle and nuanced. You have to know where to keep your weight on everything to do it. You do, you're good. You don't, well, you might die. So who is this board for? It's for the slightly aggressive free ride guy that wants to be laid back. Someone that doesn't want a board that they have to stay on their A game with at all times or aggressively charge with. They can be laid back if they go out with the wife, the kids, or the boys, and they don't want to just hammer hard turns or get into super crusty, gnarly terrain and just be digging edges in. Dear God, why was it so crusty that day? It was awful. I swear to God. It's awful. That's who this board is for. Someone that just knows that they're just going to be free ride cruising with the occasional charging. If you like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. This is a good board, and it's a very approachable board for the everyman, for someone that wants a free ride board that they can charge with, but they can be laid back with. The one thing that I didn't like was there just wasn't enough power out of the tail, and it would wash out on me on deep, hard, aggressive carves. And it wasn't like a once or twice thing. It happened multiple times. But as I said, this is an approachable everyman board. And if you look at other boards in the Arbor lineup, this is going to be better for the more recreational, weekend warrior type rider. Someone that can just be like, hey, I get out 2 days a week. I need something I can charge with that's good and pow, that I can still carve with because I know how to carve. But I want to be laid back if I have the kids with me or the wife or something. That's what this board is, and I see where it sits in the Arbor lineup because a lot of their newer stuff is a little bit more aggressive, which is not a bad thing. Comparable boards: the Yes Pick Your Line Uninc DCP Extreme, the Ride Moderator, the Jones Flagship. Binding recommendations: the Arbor Cypress, the Jones Mercury, the Ride C8. This has been my review of the Arbor Iguchi Pro. If you're looking for something else, why don't you check out one of the reviews for one of the comparable boards I mentioned. Do it, go, keep watching, you know you'd want to.